Grand Rising, everyone. This is Artists of Truth coming to you with another vlog entry. So, what I what I wanted to briefly touch on was the most recent, I guess I should call it a one-sided argument between Brother RZA and Young Pharaoh. Now, I used to listen. I used to entertain Young Pharaoh at one point, but then you know I stopped. You know, and the reason why I stopped entertaining Young Pharaoh was just when you should be teaching, when you should be teaching people, but instead you spend too much of your energy into trying to attack someone, trying to attack someone's character, or better yet, trying to defend yourself when you already know what you're doing. It's not wrong. And when it comes to the conscious community, I'm learning that everybody's trying to be the head. Okay? Everybody's trying to be the head. No one wants to be the legs. No one wants to be the body or the tail. But it's like everyone comes off and it's like it's a fight to be the head of the conscious community, which results in verbal disputes, verbal altercations. And I look at it and I can't help but to ask, where is the arguing supposed to lead to? I listened to this 26, 27 minute snippet of Young Pharaoh and Brother RZA just going at it. RZA really didn't have the opportunity to even question certain things that were said. He didn't even have the opportunity to question, to answer any questions. But it seemed like Young Pharaoh, in such an emotional state, had no control over his emotions, and I feel that one of the greatest gifts that you could have is having control over your emotions, like knowing when and where to allow your emotions to flow freely. Now, there's a difference between being emotional and just being a bitch, and in this case, Young Pharaoh came off as a bitch. And I'll give you a prime example. When you ask a question, but you do not give the individual that you are having this open dialogue with, you're not giving him or her the opportunity to answer the question and then provide their rebuttal. Little girls do stuff like that. They want to be heard and they want the last word and that's it. It's like it doesn't work like that, young Pharaoh. And out of all of his studies, I believe that is one of the studies that he failed tremendously on. Honestly, a lot of us we fail on. We fail controlling our emotions, realizing that we can agree to disagree, but it should not push us into a place where we have to degrade the next person just because they don't see it from our point of view. It's a reflection of your own character, integrity, when you can't agree to disagree with a person without taking shots at them, without inviting them to a location just so y'all could fight. I listened to the interview. Young Pharaoh, he invited Brother RZA out for a spar, and whatnot. And honestly, I'm still trying to register to what purpose would this serve, getting into a ring and you fighting, only to come right back to the same topic, having the same energy, the same ignorant response. I just look at that shit and I'm just like, man, that you playing checkers. You know what I'm saying? Young Pharaoh's playing checkers. He's not playing chess. So sometimes you have to strategically think out the next 5 moves that you're going to do. And young Pharaoh, he's not doing that. As I stated before, it it is the message that we must take from these individuals and apply it to our lives. We cannot get sidetracked by these individuals' personal vendettas that they have towards each other. And honestly, I'm not the one to sugarcoat shit. But when it comes to young Pharaoh, he was totally and completely out of pocket. There's no real understanding coming from what you are, the message that you are conveying, and you're not giving the next person the opportunity to speak. I look at shit like that, and behaviors like that, that's bullyish, and that's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I feel personally that anyone that rocks with young Pharaoh, you have to be capable of dishing out his bullshit and just ignoring it and just solely and completely focus on the message at hand. I personally, I'm not that individual. If you start talking about other irrelevant shit that has nothing to do with the advancement of the black community, it has nothing to do with the education of the black community, then at that point in time, it's just like anything else that you're talking about that is not related throws me off. I can't take you seriously. Young Pharaoh, he's not the individual that I can honestly take serious, I just can't. Maybe he has some sort of personal, personal issues that he needs to reconcile with, with RZA or the Nation of Islam or whatnot. Me personally, I don't I don't rock with the Nation of Islam. Some of uh, some of their rules and guidelines I do respect, because with any organization you must have a level of discipline, and you there are rules and guidelines to any organization, to any organization or movement. There are rules and guidelines, that you must follow. You can't just be roaming around here reckless without order, because if you have no order, then it's always going to be someone around who will bring order, and they will put you in order. Young Pharaoh, he is, an intellectual young man, but he still is a loose cannon. And before long, if he doesn't grow into a level of maturity, young Pharaoh is going to find himself on, the short end of the stick. That's, take it as you will. That's not to throw any threats out to anybody, because as I said, I don't rock with young Pharaoh like that. I don't approve of his, his methods or whatnot. It's just some shit you got to be careful for, because you can mess around, go barking up the wrong tree, and someone drop down one of the branches on your ass, and the weight of that branch you won't be able to hold. You won't be able to to withstand. So, sometimes you just have to be mindful of what part of the block that you walking in. If you're not familiar with that block and people of that block are not familiar with you, you could be walking into some hellfire. But when it comes to the conscious community, I feel that there are some people that just need to be they need to be schooled. They need to be informed, and they need to take this seriously. Stop trying to manipulate people and get over people for financial gain, because that shit always comes right back to bite you in the ass. So I'm about to get out of here. You all have a wonderful day, and I'll talk with you soon.